Comet, an elephant from Chessington Zoo, spends the weekend as a waiter at the Trocadero restaurant in Piccadilly Circus, London, around 1938. Aircraft audio radars, individual, 1917. The face of the Custom House clock in Boston was repainted by a worker in 1976. Okay, here we go, female firefighters in action in London around 1916. Kids doing remote learning over the radio from 1937 because of the polio epidemic. It makes me feel weirdly connected to the past. Travellers who needed to cross the rivers around Somerville, Massachusetts, but didn't want to deal with the hassle of a ferry or rowboat, could have perhaps hailed this water taxi for on-demand service. 1910 to 1940s. Congress of Racial Equality trainees are going through an egg shampoo exercise. This is to help them stay calm during non-violent demonstrations. This happened on August 11, 1963. The location isn't mentioned. The Las Vegas Strip in 1969. Downtown Sacramento is bustling with activity, offering a glimpse into late 19th century urban life. Sacramento, California, 1890. The German Motorcycle Pigeon Patrol was tasked with catching pigeons. This happened during the 1930s, and the pigeons they were after carried messages and cameras. A woman does her daily exercises using a new apparatus in the 1930s. Astronaut Alan B. Shepard Jr., Mercury Redstone 3 or MR3 pilot, wearing a pressure suit with a body parachute. Okay, here we go. There's a group of women, they're all dressed in three-piece suits. The suits have different styles. This was around 1896. Police are arresting a drunk man in a skeleton costume. The year is 1950. An experimental gyrocopter test flight taking place sometime in the 1930s or 40s. Okay, here we go. A cat wearing a suit and hat, 1906. Okay, so in 1936 we have kids in Texas heading to school during the Dust Bowl. They're wearing face coverings to help them avoid sand pneumonia. The world's first gym machine, Stockholm, 1892. Quality control at EMI Records, 1965. It's a modern house from the 1960s. It might look more like a spaceship than a house, but this modern house, called Futuro, was meant to be a portable, weather-resistant home for families who are looking towards the future. A fishing boat at Fulton Market Pier, New York City, April 11, 1933. The Mad Hatter's Tea Party from Alice in Wonderland, 1898. A soldier shares a banana with a goat during the Battle of Saipan, around 1944. Crossroads Baker showing the white surface crack under the ships and the top of the hollow spray column protruding through the hemispherical Wilson cloud. Bikini Island beach in the background. Danish clothier Christian Troelstrup and the building he covered with over 1,000 coats to attract buyers in Copenhagen, Denmark, 1936. The first portable milk bar at Waterloo Station, 1930s. In the 1940s, a Hollywood studio hosted an open casting call for black cats to star in a film. Okay, here we go. The photo department of the New York Times, New York, September 1942. Selfies are everywhere now, but they've been popular for decades. Here, a 23-year-old Frank Sinatra snaps a bathroom selfie in 1938. Einstein between the Adelot couple, Princeton, New Jersey, 1951. While under threat both from the Federal Bureau of Investigation and the Nation of Islam in 1964, civil rights icon Malcolm X peers out the window of his home while holding a gun. A nervous young girl sits in the front row. She's the only black girl in her newly integrated class. Tennessee, 1957. A cat taking a photo, 1909. A spectacular avalanche on February 10th, 1903, swept away part of a trestle 300 feet high. That trestle let Northern Pacific Railway trains descend from this pass since 1890. Soviet soldiers learn how to milk a cow in the 1940s. The first interracial marriage in Mississippi, 1970. 3 years earlier, the 1967 Loving v. Virginia Supreme Court ruling legalized interracial marriage in the US. Fire escape collapse, 1975. War damage at Bezuidenhout in The Hague after the Allied bombing on March 3, 1945. The Washington Monument, a huge obelisk on the National Mall in Washington, D.C., is made of marble, granite, and a bit of blue gneiss. It was built to honor George Washington, the first President of the United States. Construction started in 1848 and finished in 1884. It stands over 555 feet tall. It's a portrait of Chaiwa, a Tiwa Native American. It's from around 1906. President Harry Truman leading an exercise class on the deck of the USS Missouri, 1947. A Dallas policeman holds up the rifle that Lee Harvey Oswald allegedly used to kill President Kennedy. Okay, here we go, the iron lung ward of a hospital in California, 1953. Selling snake oil, Oklahoma, 1887. Myeongdong, in central Seoul in 1950. The district is now an international shopping hub. South Korea has built one of the richest economies in the world from the ruins of the war. December 1940, Stark, Florida. Construction workers drinking beer in Soldier's Joy Cafe near Camp Landing. Detonation of a nuclear bomb. Nevada test site, Nevada, United States of America, March 29, 1955. The detonation was a part of Operation Teapot. The operation included 14 nuclear test explosions conducted in early 1955. Orchard Street on Manhattan's Lower East Side becomes a scene of chaos after a heavy snowstorm left parts of the city a huge mess in 1926. So, anti-war protesters rioted in Chicago during the 1968 Democratic National Convention. President Johnson and his family were watching from the bedroom at his ranch in Stonewall, Texas. Okay, here we go. In the early 1950s, a man wore a football helmet. He then stood on a platform. Next, the platform was raised 20 feet. Then, the platform was released and dropped to the ground. The man fell with the helmet. Okay, let's see. Autopsy room at the medical school in Bordeaux, 1890. Louis Armstrong, an American trumpeter and one of the most influential artists in jazz history, is drawing a trumpet and autographing the side of a young man's head. This happened in Nice, France in 1961. US Army Corporal Larry Matinsk put cigarettes into the extended hands of newly liberated prisoners behind a stockade in the Alyach concentration camp, April 30th, 1945. Women having stockings painted on instead of buying them during wartime, 1941. John F. Kennedy rides a mule during a campaign visit to the stockyards at Sioux City, Iowa in 1960. Okay, here we go. Lewis and Lil Hardin Armstrong, Hollywood, around 1930. A British soldier in battle dress kneeling in prayer. This was at a service of intercession for France. It took place at Westminster Cathedral in London on the 14th of June, 1940. Wedding at the Heights, 1946. The second fight between Muhammad Ali and Sonny Liston, 1965. Lieutenant Walter Tuning, catapult officer of the USS Enterprise, jumps onto a burning plane to save the pilot, 1943. Philippe Halsman, The Versatile Jean Cocteau, 1949. Okay, here's what a mobile home looked like in the 1930s. A mobile home was essentially a box on wheels. The earlier ones were small, often only about 8 feet wide and about 30 feet long. Most had a flat roof, with an exterior made of wood or sheet metal. The Rocket Express, a monorail that carried kids around the toy department on the 8th floor at the John Wanamaker department store in Center City, Philadelphia in the 1950s. The Aviator. A Mongolian woman sits alone, condemned to death by starvation, July 1913. A floating hospital provides care for children with tuberculosis, offering treatment in a unique maritime setting, 1922. Okay, here we go. Titanic launch into Belfast Harbour, 1911. Here we see a German soldier in despair after the disastrous Battle of Kursk, 1943. Colonel Paul W. Tibbets, Jr., pilot of the Enola Gay, the plane that dropped the atomic bomb on Hiroshima, waves from his cockpit before the takeoff, August 6, 1945. Alright, here we go. Dog in a Dress for Tea Time, 1895. Boxing on a Roof, 1938. Oldsmobile is testing its single-cylinder curved dash on a hill in Lansing, Michigan, in the early 1900s. It's an endless procession of German prisoners. They were captured when Aachen fell. They're marching through the ruined city streets to captivity. This all happened in 1944. Okay, here we go. Sepulka, the guide robot, Soviet Union, 1962. A policeman is directing traffic during the Great Smog of London. This was taken in 1952. Women in long dresses hold small barbells during a gym class at Michigan State Normal College, now Eastern Michigan University in Ypsilanti, Michigan, around 1905. A lone man stands with arms crossed, refusing to give the Hitler salute amidst a sea of saluting individuals. Germany, 1936. Dinosaur Prints, Biloxi Riverbed, Texas, 1952. The Inner Courtyard of Newgate Prison, London, 1895. Waterproof. On the 7th of August 1931, a little boy sets off to play with his toy boat in the rain. Anesthesia is dripped onto a cone that's held over a soldier's nose and mouth during the American Civil War before a doctor amputates the man's leg. Circa 1861 to 1865. Okay, here we go. Motorcycle female officers, Los Angeles, 1927. Julianne Koepke, 17 years old, was sucked out of an airplane after it was struck by a bolt of lightning. She fell 2 miles to the ground, strapped to her seat, and survived. 1971. Susie Parker and Robin Tattersall, coat by Dior, Place de la Concorde, Paris, August 1956. Okay, here we go. Driller at work, Kilgore, Texas, 1939. Jack Nicholson and Angelica Houston, 1971. Group photograph of members of the Brighton Swimming Club, Brighton, England, circa 1863. There are 2 young boys standing barefoot on moving electric looms. They're trying to reach the top shelf while at work in a cotton mill in Georgia in 1910. Students protest and march from Sydney Opera House to Parliament House in Sydney after the resignation of architect Jörn Utzon. That happened on March 3, 1966. Monet with his wife Alice, 1908. Two bulldogs out for a walk in 1949. The shoes worn by John Wayne Gacy while he dressed as Pogo the Clown. Organisers try to force Catherine Switzer out of the Boston Marathon, but she perseveres to become the first woman to officially finish the race. 1967. Alright, let's talk about some bizarre old school Disney costumes. A father and his 4 children guide a hay wagon pulled by 2 horses, with derrick towers in the background. West Virginia or Ohio, 1896 to 1912. Alright, here we go, the bowling alley at Blackpool Winter Gardens in 1959. A wing walker stands on one leg on the wing of a Curtiss Flying Jenny biplane in the air above New Jersey, 1920. "18-year-old London student Mercy Hasted enjoys a portion of spaghetti in Positano, Italy, 1949. Children play hide and seek next to a car on a New York street, early 20th century.